Every once in a while, I grow new, unusual vegetables. Some, like the Burr Gherkin, happen to be long-lost acquaintances. While it originates in Africa, I knew it from back in Brazil by another name. I have, however, grown once Maxixe. I think this is the same plant. You usually don't find these things in supermarkets here, or even international markets that often. They're usually eaten cooked, at least in Brazil. I've heard that people pickle these gherkins. I'm gonna treat it like cucumber because it's in the same family. The seeds look like those of cucumbers, just smaller. While I'm sure they germinate readily in warm tropical weather, over here I pre-sprout them with the plate method, hastening their growth in a warm spot. They were most likely brought to the Americas by enslaved African peoples, since they are presently grown in areas where the transatlantic trade was most active. The seeds readily sprout in less than a week under the ideal warm and moist environment of the germination station. 75°F is ideal. I started them at the beginning of May. I potted the germinated seeds and placed them under artificial lights in a warm spot. By the end of May, I had seedlings that were ready to be planted outside after a week of gradually exposing them to harsher sunlight, wind, and outside weather. Only plant them out when low temperatures rise above 50°F at night. These plants love hot, semi-arid weather, so I was a bit skeptical they would flourish in Maryland. Nonetheless, I tried to maximize my chances. I've decided to pick this spot here to grow the gherkins because later on the potatoes are just going to die as summer approaches, and that's when these grow. My hope is that I can train these to grow up the wall over there, and that way maybe I can maximize my garden space. It is one of the sunniest spots, so that's why I think they're going to be induced to grow that way. In Brazil, maxixe, as this vegetable is known, is mainly grown in the hot northeast. I clearly remember eating it in Salvador, Bahia. In cooler São Paulo, it's more of an oddity. I didn't like it as a child, but now I was looking forward to rediscover its flavor. By mid-July, I could do just that. As the potato is starting to die and I'm harvesting it, the gherkins have started to fruit, and I'm a bit surprised. I kind of stashed them over here. Well, I thought there was enough sun and they would like the heat from the stone wall, but I wasn't expecting them to be fruiting just yet. I've seen that there were cucumber beetles visiting them. That's not a good sign usually for cucumbers, but maybe they're a little bit more resistant to the diseases. So I'll just wait for more of them to start harvesting it, but I'm excited. That is, if the groundhog doesn't get to it first, because this is unprotected and the groundhog has been going around. I think I have a vine trying to grow in one of the cages, but it's been shaded out by other plants, so it might not be as successful as this one. And if the groundhog does like this kind of foliage, it's just going to attack. So let's keep our hopes up that we might have more than just one little maxixe or gherkin. As temperatures rose, the vine also grew in vigor, in lockstep to the garden's annual march of abundance. I was harvesting plenty of lemon cucumbers, although they were already showing signs of decline. The gherkin vines were a lot more vigorous and seemed less susceptible to diseases, and so far had not attracted the interest of the groundhog. Maybe it was still unfamiliar with the strange fruit. While the foliage was lush, I must confess the fruits were a more scarce sight. The gherkin vines are really taking to this spot over here, so that means the first harvest. It appears to prefer to sprawl in the ground and even to climb over a structure, since it hasn't climbed over the stone wall and the vines that are growing there, and it has wanted to grow towards this area here, which is where the potatoes used to be, and now it's taking advantage of the open sun. It's a bit of a mess at this moment with several weeds I haven't been able to keep up with, but I just want to see how much it produces. And it seems to be kind of a wild vine, perhaps even resistant to many of the cucumber diseases. I think they just needed hotter weather and more sun to produce more fruit. In a subsequent year, I had better luck placing them near the sunny road. Still, I had enough of them to recreate a very common dish from the countryside of Bahia, where maxixe grows like weeds. I grabbed a couple of fresh heirloom tomatoes from the vine and a poblano pepper to give the dish a bit of spice. Maxixe no molho, or gherkin cooked in tomato sauce, is a common way to enjoy the vegetable that grows abundantly in the region. There are many variations of ingredients and techniques, but the basic elements are the same. To prepare it, I first minced a couple of homegrown garlic cloves.
She's awake
for the sunrise, grinding corn, preparing bread. I finally sliced the poblano pepper, making sure to remove the white rib and seeds to control the spice level. I sauteed the garlic and pepper in some olive oil, adding a bit of curry powder. The traditional choice would be cumin, turmeric, and black pepper. I diced heirloom tomatoes and added them to the pan to create a rustic tomato sauce, seasoning with salt to taste. To a world of bliss and light, she'll build a dream recorder to take into the night. I carefully washed and rubbed the gherkins on a kitchen towel to remove a bit of the spikes. I then sliced the gherkins and added them to the tomato sauce, allowing them to cook until tender. You can add a bit of water or stock if you want it a bit runnier. She finds herself cornered, surrounded by walls mile high, trapped by rebar and concrete blocks. She will soar with the wings of her mind. I decided to eat the gherkin on top of some cooked beans and Brazilian manioc flour. While it may be an odd dish for Americans, this meal will be quite common in the northeast of Brazil, especially as a weekday meal for a poorer family, since the ingredients are cheap and accessible in that part of Brazil. Of all the regions of Brazil, the Northeast has the most interesting culture in my opinion, since it has been the stage for a diverse group of people who have learned to thrive despite adversity. Let's try it. It has little seeds that kind of explode a little bit as you bite into them. This would be a very typical plate in the northeast of Brazil, especially amongst those who could not afford more expensive food items. This type of food, the beans, the manioc flour, and some kind of cozido was what made people not go hungry. And it's not just about not going hungry. This is actually delicious. I love this kind of simple food when you're able to use your own produce and extract from simple dirt so many complex and clean flavors. I hope you enjoyed this simple seed to table episode. If you'd like to support the channel, you can do so through Patreon or by buying art from my Etsy shop. I have many exciting episodes in the pipeline, including more about design and maybe a home interior. So stay tuned and thank you for the support. Toward brighter skies, toward